gentlemen, welcome back to Wiseman Company. Today we're going to be talking about the AR15 lower receiver. I'm sure you've heard an AR15 lower is just a lower. Nothing, no reason to fret the lower receiver if you're trying to purchase a gun or maybe you're building a rifle. An AR lower is an AR lower, plain and simple, right? Well, kind of. I mean, if we're just talking about the size, shape, spec, it needs to be certain parameters, certain dimensions to work properly. But in the year 2022, there is definitely some added performance available for the AR-15 lower. Some manufacturers are doing it, some aren't. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Anderson lower, the Poverty Pony. You can get them for 40 bucks. It's a standard aluminum lower, no frills. I've run them, I've had them. They will work just fine. But again, there are some things we can do to the AR-15 lower that's going to increase performance, going to make life a little easier. Let's talk about what we can do to those lowers, how manufacturers should be making lowers straight from the factory, right out of the box, so you don't have to do anything to them. First, let's list some features that can be upgraded. These are a list I came up with. I think they are easy upgrades, inexpensive upgrades, and again, every manufacturer should consider these if they're putting out an AR-15 or selling lowers because they're inexpensive and easy to do. Let's get into the list. First, the trigger. Not exactly a part of the lower itself, the shell. A lot of manufacturers are turning out lowers with triggers already in them. A mil-spec, gritty mil-spec trigger is not a necessity. It doesn't have to be that way. There are a lot of triggers out there that can be polished, shined a little bit, grit taken away from them if they just have a little bit more time put into them, that they're going to give the end user a lot better experience. ALG triggers are a trigger that comes to mind that can be sold with an AR-15 lower that makes a world of difference when we're comparing them to a lot of the sloppy AR-15 triggers that get put out there, the mil-spec AR triggers. So not necessarily a part of the lower, but I definitely wanted to mention it. The AR-15 trigger, easy to improve with little effort, and I think people should be making that effort if they're going to sell an AR-15 trigger. So the trigger. Next is the trigger guard. Some AR-15 lowers come with the trigger guard installed or a part of the lower. Some do not. Those Poverty Ponies, those Palmetto State Armory lowers, a lot of them come without a trigger guard, or they'll include one that is pretty sharp, straight across, no frills. The AR trigger guard is easy. It's should be clean lines, no sharp edges, a part of the receiver, give you a little bit more room. That's one right there that can be an easy upgrade to an AR-15 lower, trigger guard. Next is the Magwell. We don't spend a ton of time reloading, but when you need to reload quickly, it would be nice if it is as easy as possible. Just adding a little more of a Magwell or a little bit more of a flared Magwell to any lower receiver is going to be really nice for the end user. It doesn't have to be some big funnel, but a little bit of a bevel, a little bit of a flare, just to make life a little easier. Not a hard upgrade. All AR lowers should be coming with a little bit more of an improved Magwell. Next is the Ambi Mag Release. I'm right-handed. I rarely shoot left-handed. But if I'm in a position where I have to shoot left-handed or manipulate the gun left-handed, it is really nice to have an Ambi Mag Release. And I know a lot of you lefties out there would probably appreciate it too. There are some companies doing it. Some companies making fully Ambi lowers, some going halfway. I think an Ambi Mag Release is an easy asset to add to an AR-15 lower and should certainly be considered by every manufacturer or end user for the AR-15. Along those same lines of ambidextriousness, Ambi lowers, let's talk about an Ambi bolt catch. I think this is more important than even the Ambi Mag Release. Ambi bolt catches allow you to lock that bolt to the rear with either hand, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, whether you're forced to do it with a weak side. Ambi bolt catches are a really nice asset, and there's a couple ways to do that we'll talk about in a little bit. I think that, again, should just be standard issue this day and age. This next one, most people don't think about unless you have a really bad tolerance issue with the upper receiver and lower receiver, and that is an adjustment option for your lower receiver to the upper receiver. Usually it's some sort of set screw or nub that goes through the grip, and what this is going to do is adjust or tighten up the tolerance between the lower receiver and the upper receiver so there's no slop. Some of you out there might say that that slop isn't going to affect anything in the long run. I kind of disagree. I've been in positions where the tolerance was really loose from the upper and lower, and I was locked into a barricade or a shooting position with my lower receiver, and I could literally see my optic moving because of the way the upper was kind of flopping around on the lower. Yes, that's an extreme circumstance, but it's nice, particularly when you're building your own gun with multiple manufacturers, to be able to tighten up that tolerance between the lower and upper. Not something everyone thinks about, but it is appreciated. This last one is kind of a bonus one. I wasn't sure if I was going to include it, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say anti-walk pins in the lower receiver, or some way to secure those pins in the lower receiver. What I'm talking about is the trigger pins in the lower receiver. A lot of times those are the first things to move in a lower or come off. You'll see those pins walking out. K&S Precision makes some anti-walk pins. There's a number of other companies out there. I just think it is a nice little bonus for a lower receiver. It gives you a real peace of mind. I'm not swapping triggers all the time, so once I have the trigger I want in there, I want that thing secured. So anti-walk pins is a little bit of a bonus. Wasn't sure I was going to put it in there. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about those. Next, I want to go over some lower receivers from the bare bones forged lower receiver that a lot of you have or that are out there in the market, to some of the more high-end lower receivers that are available. Who's done some good things, who's done some bad things. Let's start with the plain Jane forged lower receiver. I've have a bunch of them, used them in the past, I've used them stock. If you're using it stock and you can get by with just a plain lower receiver, more power to you. But there are some things we can add to that plain forged lower receiver to make it better. This is a lower I've improved recently. It is a standard forged mil-spec lower receiver, no frills. It was a gift. It has some engraving on it. You'll see it's a cool lower receiver, but I wanted to upgrade it, add some, some bells and whistles. So here's what I did to it. Flared Magwell from Good & Gear. This is a polymer Magwell, easy to install, almost no weight added to the lower receiver. It does make reloading much easier. It's hard to miss. So Magwell added there. Next is a extended mag release, and that extended mag release is from Velocity Precision. They make triggers and a number of other components. Makes finding that mag release a little bit easier. I have relatively large hands, so it's not necessarily a length issue getting to it. It's just more of a I can't miss it. So I can hit that button from further back, further forward, and I know that mag is going to fall free. So extended mag release. The trigger guard is a B5 Systems trigger guard. It's polymer, makes it a little bit larger of a trigger guard, so if I'm shooting with gloves or something like that, it's easy to get in and out. And there's no sharp edges on it, not cutting up my knuckles and my fingers. Left side is a Strike Industries bolt catch, a little bit bigger, hard to miss. Again, it's a nice little upgrade. The standard mil-spec bolt catch is tiny and small, and it can be missed when you're in a hurry. So the larger, enhanced bolt catch is nice for dexterity purposes. You can lock the bolt to the rear very easily, and there are some other aftermarket bolt catches out there that are really good. Parker Mountain Machine is the first one that comes to mind. They make a nice big paddle. Frank Proctor makes a extended bolt catch. Makes that lower receiver just a little bit better and a little bit more usable. Next lower receiver I want to talk about is probably the best bang for your buck lower receiver. They do a lot of things right. Not all the bells and whistles that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, but they hit a few, and that is the Ballistic Advantage lower or the Aero Precision lower. They have a little bit more of a flared magwell, which is nice. The trigger guard is integrated into the lower receiver, no sharp edges. It is bigger than your standard flat bar trigger guard that goes across there. There are options out there to improve the magwell if you want it even bigger, and the bolt catch and the mag release. In my experience, the BA lower also has a nice tight fit if you are using a BA or Aero upper. The tolerance is usually pretty good there. They don't, for the ones I have, they don't have the tolerance adjustment in the lower receiver. But again, if you're using one of their upper receivers, the upper and lower usually fit pretty snugly, along with a few other ones that I have tried out there. But I know for sure if you're gonna buy a BA lower or an Aero lower and you get their upper, it's gonna have a pretty good fit. I think, again, the BA and Aero lowers are the best bang for the buck. Usually you can get a stripped one for around 80 bucks to 100 bucks, depending on where you're shopping. Aero and BA, they're basically stepping the game up a little bit when it comes to a stripped plain Jane lower receiver, right? Next lower receiver is the SIG lower receiver. You can't really find a stripped one of those if you wanted to build one out, unless you're looking on Gunbroker or something like that. But their lowers are nice. No sharp edges, a little bit of a flared magwell, typically a Ambi Mag Release. They don't go the full Ambi route with Ambi Mag Release and bolt catch, but the Mag Release is Ambi. Stock trigger is a 2-stage polished up one. Really, really nice. Trigger guard is integrated and bowed. A lot of room there. SIG is making a good stock lower receiver. A lot of companies should start taking notes from the manufacturers that are providing these added features to AR15 lowers that have been around forever. Yeah, it might increase the cost a little bit. Shouldn't be a lot because all these upgrades are not expensive. Next lower receiver I'm going to mention, I think, is the best one available, and that is the American Defense lower receivers. Fully ambidextrous, clean lines, a little bit of flared magwell. If you get their upper, fitment is really nice. They have adjustment in the tolerances between the upper and lower. They got some cool anodizing options if you play your cards right and get on some notification email lists. I think American Defense is doing a really, really great job. I have used American Defense receiver set for a while now. It's by far my favorite. I love their receiver sets. Of course, there's some other companies doing the same thing as American Defense. I've personally just used American Defense extensively, and they're great receiver sets. A little bit on the expensive side. For an upper and a lower receiver, you're probably gonna spend anywhere from $300 to $400 in there, depending on what you get. But I think in the future, a lot of these manufacturers are gonna start seeing that the end user wants all these features. It's gonna get competitive. They'll include these features into the lower receivers straight from the manufacturer, and that should drop the price substantially. But back to what I was saying, American Defense, lower receivers, man, they're just great. Tolerances, fitment. Again, those features we talked about in the beginning of the video, they hit all the points, and I'm really impressed. I definitely will be getting another American Defense receiver set in the future. So, guys, let me know what you think about these upgrades to the AR15 lower receiver. The AR15 has been around for some time now. I think we all need to take a hard look at it and see what should just be a staple, what should just be a given when someone is producing an AR15 or a lower receiver. Let me know down in the comments if I missed anything. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you guys have questions, really, I want to just start some great dialogue, so jump down there in the comments. Let's talk about it. Hit that like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you want to support us further, go to wisemancompany.com. A lot of great gear over there. We appreciate all that support. My name is Ben. I'll see you on the next video.